Introduction. What are we watching? The transcript is a real-time recording, likely from a body-worn camera or a bystander's phone, of a law enforcement stop on a Florida beach. The subjects are a group of young adults, probably college students on spring break or a summer trip, who have been drinking alcohol in public. The officer quickly identifies one female as the primary suspect for underage drinking. What begins as a minor, non-criminal civil citation like a parking ticket escalates into a full misdemeanor arrest, complete with handcuffs, a mugshot, and a criminal record for obstruction providing false information. The central theme of this transcript is, the cover-up is worse than the crime. The officer explicitly gives the suspect multiple opportunities to be honest, but she lies repeatedly, triggering serious legal consequences. In the following sections, I will walk through every key moment, explain what each party did right or wrong, and translate the police jargon into plain English. Part 1, The Initial Approach, RU 21 midnight to 0:48. Transcript excerpt, well, I don't have mine. RU 21 I don't have it on me. RU 21 take it out for me. Who's under 21? I'm not. What is happening? The officer has observed open alcohol containers on the beach, a violation of most Florida beach ordinances and state law regarding public consumption. He approaches the group and asks directly, "Are you 21?" Instead of a simple yes or no, the suspect deflects, "I don't have it on me," meaning her ID. The officer is not asking to see an ID yet, he is asking for a verbal answer. Why this matters? In police encounters, the first few exchanges set the tone. The officer is giving the suspect a chance to be truthful without immediate punishment. When she avoids answering, his suspicion increases. From his perspective, an innocent person over 21 would simply say, "Yes, I'm 22. A person under 21 will hesitate, deflect, or lie. Legal note: stop and identify in Florida. Florida is not a stop and identify state for casual encounters. You generally do not have to provide ID unless you are lawfully detained or under arrest. However, if an officer suspects you are committing a crime, e.g. underage drinking, they can detain you briefly to investigate. During that detention, lying about your age or name becomes a separate crime. FSS 843.02, Resisting Officer Without Violence. Part 2, The Officer's Explicit Deal, Lie to me, Go to Jail. 0:48 to 2 o'clock. Transcript excerpt, here's the deal. You lie to me, you're going to jail. Simple as that. You're not the first people under 21 to drink alcohol. It's not that big of a deal. If you're going to be honest with me and tell me who you are, your real age, I won't take you to jail. It's not criminal. It's a civil citation. It's like a parking ticket. But if you lie to me about your information, now it's providing false info to law enforcement. Now it's obstructing justice. This is the most important moment in the transcript. The officer could not be clearer. He is doing three things simultaneously: lowering the stakes, he admits underage drinking is common and minor. He personally is not morally outraged. Offering a clear path out, honesty equals a fine. No jail. No criminal record. Warning of the cliff: a lie turns a 118 ticket into a criminal charge. Why do people still lie? The suspect likely experiences fight or flight stress. Her brain perceives the uniform as a threat, and the instinct is to avoid punishment by any means, including lying. She also may come from a background where authority figures are seen as adversarial, not cooperative. Additionally, she probably believes the officer cannot easily verify her age without an ID, a mistake, as we will see. Legal context: Civil citation versus criminal charge. Civil citation. Florida civil penalty for possession of alcohol by a person under 21, FSS 562.111, fine up to 500, often around 500, often around 118, as the officer says. No arrest, no mugshot, no criminal record. Does not show up on most background checks. Criminal misdemeanor. FSS 562.11, selling or giving alcohol to underage person, and 843.02 for false info, can result in up to 60 days in jail. Creates a permanent arrest record. Can affect financial aid, jobs, professional licenses, and housing. The officer is literally offering her the civil citation. She just has to say, "I'm 19. Instead, she says nothing and will later lie. Part 3, The Interruption. Friends make it worse. 2 to 3 o'clock. Transcript excerpt. My fraternity is a police officer in Tennessee. Officer, badge talks a lot. Friend, what'd you say about the badge makes you what? Officer, sit down. I'm not talking to you. You can't also vape on the beach. I'll take that. What happens here? A male friend tries to intervene. He name drops a relative who is a cop, perhaps hoping to get leniency. Instead, the officer sees it as disrespect and an attempt to intimidate him. When the friend says the badge talks a lot, the officer hears a challenge. He quickly shuts it down, telling the friend to sit down and not address him directly. Why this backfires? Police officers are trained to maintain control of the scene. When a bystander, especially one who may also be underage and drinking, starts arguing, the officer perceives a threat to his authority. He may also begin to suspect that the entire group is uncooperative. The friend's comment about the badge talking a lot could be interpreted as a veiled insult. The officer is all talk, no action. That is why the officer snaps back, "What'd you say about the badge?" a classic de-escalation test. Also, vaping on the beach. Florida's Clean Air Act and many local ordinances prohibit vaping in public places where smoking is banned, including most beaches. The officer confiscates a vape pen. This adds another potential citation but is minor compared to the main issue. Part 4, The False Information. 547, male detained 3 to 6 o'clock. Transcript excerpt. 547. 547 male detained at this point. The other problem is I can't identify you without ID. So you're detained because you could say you're John Smith. I literally asked you 3 times, are you over 21? Every time, yes. 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 What's your name and day of birth? You gave me the same name and day of birth twice. So now you're getting charged with a crime. Breaking down the radio codes. 547, likely a code for underage drinking or minor in possession. Each department has its own 10 codes or signal codes. 547 is not universal but is used in some Florida agencies for alcohol-related offenses. Male detained. The officer initially refers to the suspect as male, possibly a slip, or he is speaking about a different person. Later we see female is the primary. The lie is confirmed. The officer runs the name and birth date she provided through a database, likely FCIC-NCIC, Florida Crime Information Center, National Crime Information Center. Nothing comes back. That means either the name is completely fake, or it belongs to someone who has never had a driver's license or ID, virtually impossible for an adult in the U.S. The officer now has probable cause to arrest for obstruction, false identification to a law enforcement officer. Why just saying any name is a felony in some states? In Florida, Providing a false name to avoid a ticket or arrest is a misdemeanor first degree, up to 1 year in jail under FSS 843.02. In other states, it can be a felony if connected to a crime of violence or drug trafficking. Here, it is a misdemeanor, but it is criminal, not civil. That is the key shift. Part 5, The Emotional Collapse and Officer's Explanation 6 to 10 o'clock. Transcript excerpt, Suspect, I've never been in a situation. Officer, the answer is not to lie to the police. Did I say, you're not the first person under 21 to drink alcohol? You did. I drank alcohol at 19 too. But I gave you the benefit of the doubt, and you've got to be honest. Later, so good to know, you have a criminal record now. But you are not convicted of any crime. You are charged with a crime. When you apply to something and they say, have you been convicted of any crimes? Your answer is no. If they ask, have you been arrested? Then yes. The psychology of the suspect. She begins crying and says, this isn't me. I've never been at this point. That is likely true. She is probably a middle-class college student with no prior police contact. The shock of being handcuffed and facing a criminal record is overwhelming. Her crying is genuine, but the officer cannot let emotion override the law. He has already given multiple chances. The officer's surprising empathy. Despite the arrest, the officer takes time to explain exactly how the criminal process works. He is not being cruel, he is educating her. He admits he himself drank at 19, showing he is not judging the morality of drinking, he is enforcing the law as written. This is a professional officer who separates personal feelings from duty. Crucial legal distinction, charged versus convicted. This is one of the most valuable moments in the transcript. Many people think arrested means convicted. That is false. The officer explains, charged equals the state accuses you. You are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Convicted equals a judge or jury finds you guilty, or you plead guilty. Real-world impact, job applications for most private sector jobs ask, have you ever been convicted of a crime? The correct answer after an arrest but before trial is no. Applications for government jobs, law enforcement, or professional licenses, lawyer, doctor, teacher often ask, have you ever been arrested? Then you must say yes. A simple arrest without conviction can still appear on background checks, but many states limit how far back an employer can look or prohibit using non-conviction arrests in hiring decisions. The officer is giving her a roadmap: hire a lawyer, get this reduced or dismissed, and you may never have a conviction. But the arrest itself will be a headache. Part 6, The Wait for Transport. The van is through the roundabout 10 to 1600 hours. Transcript excerpt, we're still trying to get further, the van's going to pull up. You're going to be alright. You just got to remain calm. I just can't stop crying. I'm overwhelmed. Friend to officer, could you push this piece of hair in front of my face out? Officer, I'll do something better for you. Hey, get a mugshot. Later, all right, I'm going to take your handcuffs off. I doubt you're going to do anything stupid. The awkward waiting period. After the arrest, there is often a delay while officers wait for a transport van, a PT, prisoner transport unit. This can be 10 to 30 minutes. During this time, the suspect remains in handcuffs, usually in a seated position. The officer here removes the cuffs temporarily to allow her to put on shorts instead of a swimsuit for modesty, a small kindness. The hair in my face moment. A bystander female friend asks the officer to push hair out of her face. This is strange but shows how some people become oddly comfortable with police after the initial fear passes. The officer responds with a dark joke, "Hey, get a mugshot." He is not being cruel, he is reminding her that this is serious, a mugshot is being taken regardless of hair. Communication breakdown with transport. The officer radios that the transport van keeps lapping the roundabout and not coming to the Hilton parking lot where they are waiting. This is realistic, police radio communication is often imperfect, and prisoner vans may be prioritized for violent offenders. The delay adds to the suspect's stress. Part 7, Final Processing, Separation, Makeup, and the Ride 1600 hours to 2000 hours. Transcript excerpt, "You're separate, always separated, females and males. Place these two doors right there. She taking out makeup as long as she doesn't have anything metal like a puncture thing to fix their face. Everything's just closed, right close in a while. Gender separation in custody. In any jail or holding facility, male and female detainees are separated for safety and legal reasons." The officer explains this matter-of-factly. The male friend who was also arrested likely for obstruction or being under 21 himself will go to a different area. The makeup check. Before entering a secure area, officers must search for weapons, drugs, or sharp objects. Makeup compacts often contain mirrors, glass or metal tools, tweezers, eyelash curlers. The officer is simply following protocol, he does not confiscate her makeup, but he ensures it contains nothing dangerous. The final line, "Everything's just closed, right close in a while." This suggests the suspect's personal belongings, bag, phone, wallet are being inventoried and sealed. Closed likely means the bag is zipped and will be stored until she is released. Close in a while, the officer is reassuring her that the process will not take forever. In many Florida beach towns, underage drinking arrests are processed quickly, a few hours, and the person is released on their own recognizance, no bail with a court date. Summary of charges and possible outcomes. Based on the transcript, the suspect likely faces possession of alcohol by a person under 21, second-degree misdemeanor. Originally would have been a civil citation if she had been honest. False identification given to law enforcement, first-degree misdemeanor, FSS 843.02. Possible open container violation, civil infraction. The officer mentioned open alcohol, pure 60, likely a local ordinance code. What will happen next after the transcript ends? She will be fingerprinted and photographed mugshot. She will be issued a notice to appear NTA, a court date in about 30 to 60 days. If she has no prior record, a prosecutor may offer a deferred prosecution or adjudication withheld no conviction if she completes a diversion program, e.g. alcohol awareness class, community service, fine. If she hires a local attorney, the attorney can often negotiate a reduction back to a civil infraction, because the officer's own words, "I'll give you a civil ticket if you're honest," could be used to argue that the arrest was punitive, not necessary. Worst case scenario, she ignores the court date, warrant issued, arrested again, convicted of failure to appear, actual jail time a few days and a permanent conviction. Best case scenario, she hires a lawyer negotiates a plea, pay $200 fine, do 8 hours community service, no conviction record sealed or expunged after a year.